Before we get started with tonight's show, I gotta thank the awesome super chatters from last week's episode, also beloved channel members Ace Avenue and Michael Entity. Both links to these guys' channels is down in the description below. Definitely go check them out. Ace Avenue, he's just crossed 1,000 subscribers. He does movie reviews, TV reviews, talks a little bit of sports. He talks about all the kind of stuff over there with fun, charismatic energy. Really great guy. I love having him whenever we do Members Talk Live, and he's always so insightful, brings so much to the conversation, and he's got a lot more to say over on his channel as well, so go check him out. Along with him, we've got Michael Entity, another amazing content creator, doing movie reviews and TV reviews over on his channel, also in the process of putting out his first movie called Riley. You can find out information about that over on his channel as well. But when he's not at hard work as a director, he is doing movie reviews on his channel. Very insightful, very detailed, very well thought out movie reviews over there. We actually collabed recently. We've got a Spider-Man review up together. I believe Spider-Man 2 is coming out very soon. His link is also down in the description below, so definitely go over to his channel and check him out. And both of you guys, thank you so much for your support towards our channel. I mean, being members and sending in super chats, it means so much. It goes a long way. It's why I'm able to do this every week, as often as I can get to this every week, and it really does make a huge difference towards the channel, so thank you guys so much for all of your support. Alright, tonight on Zach Milne Talks Live, we have to do the impossible, something I never thought I would have to do. Give Sony some praise for a decision they made regarding their Spider-Man universe.
What?
Because they decided to go out and get the Spiderverse creators themselves, Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, to come in and take over their Spider-Man television universe. We'll talk about that in a minute. Adam Wingard directed Godzilla vs. Kong, Godzilla x Kong. He wanted to complete his trilogy, and it looks like he ain't coming back for a third one anymore. Fast and Furious, just when you think it's about to end, they come out with another installment, they come out with another announcement. It turns out, after the 11th film, they've got plans for more Fast and Furious movies, even though the 11th film is supposed to be the last one, at least that's what they said, but the budget is definitely getting cut. And last but certainly not least, Marvel has been making a huge effort to get over this slump that they have been in for couple years now, and one of the ways that they are going to attempt to do that is by separating their television from their movies, as well as their animation from their live action, by rebranding and adding specific banners to their projects going forward. All this and more. You guys are here, I'm here, it's Zach Milne Talks Live. This is episode number 86, baby. Let's get started. It's a live show on a Wednesday. What's up, guys? Something new I'm trying out. You like it? Should that be our theme song? I was thinking so. What's going on, guys? It's Wednesday night. It's Zach Milne Talks Live. I'm in a mood. I'm in one of those moods. I'm in a mood where the show's probably just gonna, go off the rails a little bit. Be a little fun. It's always fun when you guys are around. That was something special for those who are here from the start. And thank you guys so much for being here from the start, if that is indeed you, which if you're here, it is. We've got a fun show tonight, guys. I think it's going to be great. As I mentioned before in the predetermined topics, you already know how the show is going to run down. But if you're new here, this is quite the introduction for you for for the show. But if you guys are new here, thank you so much for joining us and checking out the show. How the show is going to go is we've got predetermined topics, as mentioned in the intro video. In between those topics, we're going to be taking your live comments and questions. We're just going to be chatting about movies, TV, all night long, and it's going to be great. And if you guys want to jump into the chat yourself, please do so. We love to converse with all of you. Bring in all your thoughts and ideas. The more, the merrier. But if you do want to add a super chat into your question, into your comment, to support, to just have fun, I don't know, I always appreciate it, and I want to say thank you with more than just words. And I know a lot of you guys also have YouTube channels of your own, so I've got a super chat guide here for those who super chat tonight. For $1.99, you get community posts made with a link to your channel at the end of the show. For $2.99, you get the community post as well as the link in the description of this video for your channel. And for $9.99 or more, you get the community post, the link in the description of this video, as well as next episode's video, as well as a special video shout out like you saw at the top of the show for the Ace Avenue and Michael Entity. Of course, super chats are not required to get your question or comment answered, and this also extends to super thanks. So if you're not able to watch live but you still want to contribute in that way, you're always welcome to do so more than ever. And I really appreciate it. So thank you guys so much. And speaking of which, I have to immediately go to this guy because he didn't even wait for the show to start. He was just like, I'm here, and I'm sending in a super chat. Our beloved The Ace Avenue is in here, sending in a $5 super chat. Dude, you've been more than generous, and I cannot thank you enough for being a member, for hanging out with us on Members Talk Live on Saturday, and for contributing to the super chatting on the live shows. It really does go so far for the channel, and I appreciate it so much, dude. You say... X-Men 97 was absolutely astonishing. Everything from the animation, art styles, story, and stakes were incredible. I believe that Disney can handle them. I mean, I totally agree with you. So I did finish X-Men 97. I finally got around to finishing it this past weekend when I had time when I was out of town. And I loved this thing. I loved this thing. Like, I was really enjoying it at the beginning. And I'm also someone who came into X-Men 97. I did not watch the original, and I saw episodes of the animated series growing up, but I was not like an advocate, like I wasn't a regular watcher of it. Never have caught up on the full thing. Couldn't tell you episodes from other episodes. I'm that kind of viewer, and it was so long ago. So I went into X-Men 97 not really expecting much, to be honest. I was honestly not even expecting to finish the series. I thought I might be lost, but I thought the show did a really good job of being accessible to those who didn't watch the animated series. They did a really good job making this their own as well as a continuation, and they matured it. They matured it so much more than I was expecting, because I went back after the show and watched a couple episodes in season 1 of the original X-Men animation, and it's good, but it's definitely not where this series is. I thought everything that they did with all the storylines, because they took a lot of storylines and put them into this 10 episode arc, and the way that they all kind of came together near the end was just very well done. The animation, as you said, was astonishing. I loved everything they did with Jean and Cyclops and Nathan. I thought all that stuff was great. The Genosha storyline was incredible. I loved Magneto in this series. I thought Magneto might have been the most compelling and most interesting to me. And Magneto has always been interesting. I've always liked Magneto, but in this series in particular, the way that they wrote him was incredible. I really got into his motivations, and everyone just had great motivations. I thought they did a really great job fully fleshing out and realizing every single one of the X-Men. Even Storm had a great kind of side quest that she went on throughout this series. And yeah, I can't wait for season 2. I thought they knocked it out of the park with this season. This is one, I said it on a members video that I gave to the members exclusively. I think this is one of the best things that Disney Plus has ever done, and I think it's one of the best things Marvel has ever done, period. I'm very excited to see, because Kevin Feige is on this as a producer. Now, he's not the showrunner. In fact, the showrunner for this show has been fired recently, so that really, now seeing the full show and how it concludes, knowing that the guy who made that show is no longer there, kind of bums me out. But Kevin Feige's name was on it. He's the one who greenlit it. I'm sure he approved a lot of the storylines. So yeah, I will say that my X-Men hype has gone way up since watching X-Men 97. And you got Deadpool and Wolverine coming out in just a few months, and then they've just announced that they found a writer for the X-Men movie. A lot of X-Men excitement going on. They are really building up to that X-Men entering the MCU phase, and I think everything they're doing is building up beautifully, and it's going to amaze. I think their X-Men series, I think, is going to be amazing in the MCU. But thank you again to Ace Avenue for sending that in, that $5 super chat. That was very nice of you. But we got some other people in here as well. We got Jay Pylon. Thank you for joining us, Jay. How's it going, man? He says thumbs up. Thank you so much. I always appreciate the support. Dakota Man Movies. Hey, buddy. How you doing, man? Says, hey, Zach, did you buy your Deadpool and Wolverine tickets? Do you know what? I really should. I'm probably being a bit of an idiot, a bit of a snob that I haven't bought my tickets yet, because I looked on my theater. They do have them available right now, and the showings are not empty. They're not full. They're definitely not full, but they're definitely starting to fill up a bit more. The problem is, it comes out July 26th. I don't know what I'm going to be doing July 26th, so I don't really want to commit to tickets, even though I'm pretty sure I'll be at Deadpool on July 26th. There's not much that will keep me away from going to see Deadpool and Wolverine on July 26th. But I haven't bought my tickets yet because a lot of the showings are in 3D, which 3D I just think is a gimmick unless it's Avatar, which I thought Avatar: The Way of Water had hands down the best 3D I've ever seen in my life. 3D is always a gimmick. I'm not a big fan of 3D. So if I can avoid seeing it in 3D, I want to avoid seeing it in 3D. The only issue is all the showings that aren't in 3D on that day at the moment, I will be at work. Unfortunately, work has to come over Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't think it should. Society and governments and my boss especially thinks it should. So unfortunately, I'll be at work instead of Deadpool and Wolverine during the showings that aren't 3D. So I'm kind of holding out hope that my theater is going to expand the screenings, put more Deadpool and Wolverine screenings in, and hopefully I can find a non-3D showing closer to the release date that will be at least after 4:30 when I'm off work. So we'll see. I probably should be buying them though. Maybe I should buy 3D tickets just as a backup, honestly. But yeah, man, I cannot wait for Deadpool and Wolverine. Oh man, I cannot wait. Jay Pylon says it was so good. Thanks to Ace for that super. You spot on. Yes, thank you Ace for that super, and you are spot on. X-Men 97 blew every low expectation I had out of the water. But now they've got huge expectations for season 2. I just want to go down and make sure everyone is okay. Good. Sometimes my mic is. Sometimes people are like, "Your mic isn't on," and that has paranoid me ever since they said it. So I always want to make sure that no one's saying when we're like 10 minutes into the show that my mic's not on. 80s Kid from the 90s. Hey, buddy, what's going on, dude? Thanks for joining us. He says, happy Wednesday, Zach. It's always a happy Wednesday when you guys are here when we're doing the show. I always appreciate you guys joining me on Wednesday night because you could be doing anything else that is never lost on me. Thank you guys so much for giving me your time and for being here. Michael111591, what's going on, Michael111591? Thank you for being here, my friend. Says, hey, Zach, always a great Wednesday when Talks Live is on. Oh, thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. That's such a nice thing for you to say. 80s Kid from the 90s. I've been reading a great indie called The Dominus. It is written by an owner of my favorite comic book shop. You need to read it. It's an indie comic. All right, cool, man. Cool. I'm starting to slowly try to get into comics. I've especially been reading some Marvel comics. Just started reading Old Man Logan because I kind of want to read some Deadpool and Wolverine stories leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine. So I will have to keep my eyes out for that, man. That's super cool. Movie Reviews with Ryan Lane, a friend and a beloved channel member. Thank you for joining us, Ryan. How's it going, dude? Says, hey, Zach, you ready for the Mad Max prequel? I just finished reviewing all the films in preparation for the release. Yes, dude, I'm very excited for Furiosa. It's funny because I have not seen the Mad Max movies. I've only seen Mad Max Fury Road. And maybe I should go back and watch for the first time the Mad Max films, but I don't know. I've seen Fury Road. This looks like it's mostly connected to Fury Road. I think I'll be okay. If I can squeeze Mad Max in before Friday, maybe I'll try to watch them all, but I doubt that's going to happen. But regardless of that, because of my love for Fury Road, I'm so excited for Furiosa. And I've been excited for Furiosa for a very long time. Even when that first trailer came out, I thought it looked great. Some people were complaining that it looked too CGI. It didn't look like practical and didn't look as good as Fury Road. I so disagreed with that when that trailer dropped. I mean, even Fury Road had some CGI elements and CGI sequences in it as well. I thought that the trailer looked it reminisced back to Fury Road for me. I'm so excited to see Anya Taylor-Joy in it, and I'm even more excited to see Chris Hemsworth in it as the villain, because I think Chris Hemsworth in this movie is going to eat up the scenery. I think he's going to be endlessly entertaining to watch, and I cannot wait to see what he brings to us on the screen in this new role. And a little while back when he was shooting Furiosa, there was even that interview with Chris Hemsworth, and he was saying like Furiosa is the type of movies that he wants to do. Like he was just thriving, he was having a great time. So I cannot wait to see that translate onto the screen, because I think it already translates on the trailers. So yeah, this Friday, Garfield. You can wait till Monday, maybe those awful Mondays for what what the reviews are saying is not that great of a movie. I'm seeing Furiosa. Michael11591 says, did you see If? I did not get around to seeing If. I told you guys last week there was like a 5% chance that I might be able to see it on Thursday. Those plans did not work out. As I said, they were 5%, so I was not able to see it Thursday. And then, as mentioned, also I was out of town all weekend, so I just never got around to seeing it. I might see it, but at this point, I don't know. I might just wait. It didn't look bad though, but I've heard middling things. The View with Drew. Hey everyone, what's up? What's going on, Drew? Thanks for joining us. Always such a great supporter of not just my channel, but so many smaller channels. I think every live stream I've ever gone on, View with Drew has been there. So thank you for being in the space, man. Thank you for supporting this community so much, dude. It's an honor to have you here. Michael11591 says, good decision on bringing in Lord and Miller for the Spider-Man TV universe. I will agree. I think we will talk about that. The View with Drew says, what's your favorite comedy movie from the 2000s decade? Mine is The Hangover. Now, I have to double check this because if you're asking me what my favorite, the first thing that comes to mind is Step Brothers. Unfortunately, I don't remember when Step Brothers came out. 2008. Okay, Step Brothers came out in 2008, so it qualifies. Yes, 2008 Step Brothers. Hands down, I think that's going to be my favorite of the early 2000s decades comedies. I love this movie. This movie is so up my alley when it comes to humor. I think it is hysterical. I love every second of it. My wife, not so much, but I love whenever we get to put that on. We actually put that on not too long ago. We put that on a couple weeks back, and man, that movie just cracks me up. 80s Gift from the 90s says, that's really great for Sony. Really great. When does Paramount do the same thing for Transformers? Yeah, we'll have to wait and see when that's going to happen. Dakota Man Movies. I'm not on the chat anymore. Here we go. Dakota Man Movies. Sorry about that, 80s Gift from the 90s. There you go. Spotlight. Dakota Man Movies says, are you going to watch Furiosa? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. As mentioned before, super excited. Movie Reviews with Ryan Lane says, let's just hope Lord and Miller don't treat the TV animation team the way they treated the Across the Spider-Verse animation team. Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is that it's not just going to be TV animation, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, no, Across the Spider-Verse, they gave us a phenomenal movie. They knocked it out of the park. They killed it with that. Should have won an Oscar. Haven't seen Boy and the Heron, so I can't really say that, but I wish it had won the Oscar because it was easily one of the best movies of last year. But you kind of do bring in the question, as great as the movie is, what they did to those animators, was it worth getting that good of a movie? Because as a fan, I'm very happy with what they were able to put out, but as a human being, to other human beings, I feel really, really bad for what they went through in order to put out that amazing work of art. Movie Reviews with Ryan Lane says, dancing and singing wasn't on my YouTube bingo card, but I welcome it nonetheless. Yeah, man, that might be our new tradition. That's one person saying that's our new tradition. That's our new theme song. Trev's Movies. What's going on, Trev? Thanks for joining, dude. He says, Zach, I just started collecting old VHS tapes. Was curious if you collect them as well. You have a Mask of the Phantasm in your background. I do. That's childhood. I watched that VHS so many times. I recently started collecting VHSs, actually. They're down here. Because I was getting nostalgic because I owned so many VHS tapes when I was younger, and I moved around a lot in my city when I was younger, so a lot of them got lost in the move. I have some of them still preserved, but not nearly as many as I used to have, so I got kind of nostalgic and started buying like this one, for example, Spider-Man on VHS. The Green Goblin freaked me out for a very long time, but I loved watching this on VHS when I was younger. What else? I got the Star Wars trilogy, not the one that I watched growing up because that one is so hard to find. This is still a special edition one, but this is another copy that my dad owned, and this is one of the ways I first watched Star Wars. So I picked that up too, and I've got some other ones back here too of movies that got Liar Liar, but my collection is very small. It's mostly just movies that I had when I was growing up that I kind of lost, that I just wanted to kind of recapture nostalgically. I still got to get a lot more though. Collector Movie Man, what's going on, dude? Beloved channel member, thank you for being here, dude. Says, hey Zach, hello. 80s Gift from the 90s says, here's proper fan service done right for Toy Story 5. Say the movie opens up with the real Sheriff Woody teamed up with the real Buzz Lightyear, and it's just Andy using his imagination. Oh, is that it? That's just okay. So just the opening. Say the movie opens up with the real Sheriff Woody teamed up with the real Buzz Lightyear, and it's just Andy using his imagination. I don't know if I'd be into that. Just gonna be plain out honest with you, man. I'm not sure I'm into that. Collector Movie Man says, "How are you doing today? I'm having a bad day." Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry you're having a bad day. My day's been all right. Went to work. Work was kind of slow. Came back, got finished prepping the show, and I actually did pretty well with prepping the show today. Because sometimes I'm like scrambling last minute, but everything went pretty smoothly. I was pretty happy with how it went today. But I'm sorry to hear that you're having a bad day, dude. I hope that being here, just in the chat, talking about movies, talking about entertainment, having fun, just relaxing, laid back. I hope your day is able to get, or at least your evening, or wherever you are. I don't know what your time zone is, but I hope that your day will at least get a little bit better by being here, dude. Travis Movies says, what you're saying is that you don't have to watch the original X-Men animated series to watch 97. I think so. I think they do enough in X-Men 97 to kind of like elude backstories or catch you up quickly with a line of dialogue or exposition here or there, but I never felt lost. I never felt like the show was leaving me behind, and it was only for those who watched the entire series growing up. I felt it was very accessible. It allowed newcomers like myself to come in and fall in love with these characters, fall in love with this world, and this iteration of the X-Men. It's one of my favorite iterations of X-Men we've ever had. Oops, we did a jump there. By the way, we got a $2 super chat from Jay Pylon saying salute. Dude, thank you so much. That was so generous of you. So nice of you to send that in, man. And just saying salute, not even a question or comment with it. I appreciate that so much, dude. Thank you so much. Where did we go? Oh, here we go. 80s Gift of 90 says, are you excited for the Acolyte? I know I am, because it's set 100 years before the Skywalker stuff. It explores a time period I've always wanted to see. I'm really glad it's not by Filoni. Filoni seems to focus so much on fan service and not on actual story. My only complaint with Rebels is that he turned Ahsoka from a cool character that never dies. Was there one other follow-up to that? My type of Star Wars fan service is just a bunch of unknown Jedi against a cool unknown Sith Lord. I'm excited for Acolyte. All right, man. Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, look, it's one of those things where, yes, it's a different creative team, different director, different writer for the most part, and all that kind of stuff. But Star Wars on Disney Plus, man, has just really, if there's anything that's diluted the Star Wars brand for me, it's the Star Wars stuff on Disney Plus. I mean, I, like many people, I love Andor. Andor is like the best thing that they've done by far, in my opinion. Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2 are so fun, so enjoyable, but then they started working in a little bit too much Clone Wars and Rebel lore and all that kind of stuff that by the time we got to Mandalorian Season 3, I basically fell off of it, to be honest with you. It's at the point where, like, after Season 2, you announced the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I'm excited. After Season 3 of Mandalorian and Grogu, and now you're announcing a Mandalorian and Grogu movie, less excited. I hated Book of Boba Fett. I know there's people who like that. Totally to each their own. I love that you love it, and I'm glad that it worked for you. It really did not work for me. I thought it was terrible. Ahsoka had moments. Ahsoka had a lot of moments that I really enjoyed, that I love that they brought on screen. Anakin Skywalker, seeing Clone Wars, seeing Anakin in the Clone Wars with Ahsoka and all that kind of stuff was awesome. The show overall, as the overall package, really kind of landed kind of meh for me. Wasn't really my favorite. And Obi-Wan, dude. Obi-Wan. If there was a project, aside from a Vader solo project, if there was any other project that was built to break my heart, it was Obi-Wan. And if there's any project that broke my heart, it was Obi-Wan. I actually recently just rewatched the entire Obi-Wan series with my wife because we're going through Star Wars in the chronological order, and it got worse for me. And I hate saying that. I hate saying that because there are moments in Obi-Wan that I really loved, but overall, I felt like that entire show wasted its time. I felt like that entire show's pacing was off, and the decisions were so mind-numbingly dumb for an Obi-Wan series. They had a great opening. Episode 1 is great. The finale has great moments, but everything in the middle disappointed severely with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I waited for that for so many years for a project like that to come out. So that was a big heartbreaker for me. And so, the history of the Star Wars Disney Plus series, this has been my experience with them. So when I'm looking at Acolyte, it's again another like 6-8 episode series. The trailers haven't really impressed me all that much, to be honest with you. If they can introduce us to new characters, if they can make the Jedi lore exciting and fresh and new and have a really great story, it's totally going to win me over, because I was not excited for Andor at all, but Andor won me over. But as far as my excitement for Acolyte, I got to say it's not there yet. It's not there yet, and I hope it's great. I really hope it's great, but it's not there yet. Speaking of which, doesn't make any sense. But we got movie reviews. Ryan Lane sending in a $5 super chat, dude. Not only a channel member, but sending in a super chat to show your support. I appreciate that so much, dude. Thank you so much. You say, when the 2009 Star Trek movies came out, I watched the OG Star Trek films on VHS. I have a couple on VHS. I used to have the entire set that used to like complete the Enterprise. But I only now have, because I rebought these. I have oh no, I didn't rebuy these. These are the only ones that I could find. I got The Voyage Home, which is probably my favorite of the originals. Search for Spock, which is great, and then of course Wrath of Khan is like, you know, the best. It's the GOAT, as the kids would call it. It's the GOAT. And then I also have First Contact sitting here. So yeah, that's how I watched them too. I watched the original Star Trek movies on VHS, mostly because my friends were getting into Star Trek. We were Star Wars friends, and then they were transitioning to Star Trek, so I tried to get into it at a young age, and it just didn't connect with me at a young age. But I went back when I got older and watched a little bit more Star Trek, and yeah, I don't mind Star Trek, but I've definitely not delved into everything Star Trek because Star Trek is just so intimidating to me. There's so many series and so many places to go, and yeah, it's definitely not my forte. But the OG Star Trek films, they had some good ones, but the Star Trek the Motion Picture is the most boring movie I've ever had to sit through. I'm sorry to say that, but thank you again, Ryan, for that super chat and for that question, man, and for being here and being a channel member. Let's see here. We got Travis Movies saying one of the best movies I saw in 3D that wasn't Avatar was a Hindi movie called Brahmastra. Never heard of it, but sounds awesome. I'll have to check that out. Movie reviews with Ryan Lane saying the last movie I saw in 3D was Aquaman 2, and the 3D was awful, and the movie wasn't that good either. Yeah. No, I see... You know, I can't remember if I saw Aquaman in 3D or not. I feel like I avoided seeing it in 3D because I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like this movie, and I know I'm not going to like 3D, so might as well get one of those out of the way. So I'm pretty sure I didn't see Aquaman in 3D, but I could be wrong. Michael11591 says, can't wait for Deadpool and Wolverine. It's my most anticipated film of the year. You and me both, man, and probably millions and millions of other people as well. Everything that keeps coming out from that, it's just so good. Disney releasing that. Did you guys see that? Disney released this like synopsis where they started to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, and then they kind of like lost their track, and they were just like, "Oh, F it, synopsis are so stupid." I thought that was great. And then there was that whole thing of Ryan Reynolds putting like a QR code in one of his commercials. It takes you to another video of his where he's kind of like mocking what people have said about the MCU and stuff. The marketing for this thing is going to be incredible. We're just ramping up to it. It's just getting started, and I cannot wait for it to get started. It's going to be amazing. The marketing for this could arguably be better than the movie's even going to be, and I think the movie's going to be amazing. So, yeah, everything Deadpool and Wolverine, I cannot wait. Sign me up. Movie reviews with Ryan Lane. If the Garfield movie isn't a sign that we've seen too much of Chris Pratt, then what is? I mean... If the Garfield movie is a sign we've seen too much, I don't think we've seen too much Chris Pratt, and I think Chris Pratt gets a little bit too much hate, a little bit too much. He's an actor. He's definitely becoming the go-to guy for animated voices. Which, do I love that? No, but he's all like, it's not at the point where I feel like he has a monopoly over animated voices. He's just, you can kind of tell. It's like, you need an animated voice, Chris Pratt. Now, I've not seen the Garfield movie, so I can't speak on the Garfield movie. I can't speak on Chris Pratt's voice in the Garfield movie, how he plays the character. I can't speak to any of that. All I can say is I've seen the trailers for Garfield. It doesn't look like a movie for me. His voice in it sounded fine, but it also didn't really sound like he was trying to do anything really different. It was just kind of Chris Pratt talking as Garfield. Good for him, making money off of it, living the dream. Good job, Chris. But all I've heard from Garfield is it's very kiddie. It's a very kids movie, and which is what I expected. So I'm probably not going to check it out, to be honest with you. If I get really bored and there's nothing to do, and I'm like, my YouTube channel could use some more content, maybe I'll go see Garfield. 80s Kid from 90 says, I'd rather see an original movie that's inspired by all my favorite 80s cartoons turned into one great original story. I mean, I'd rather see an original movie that's inspired by all my favorite 80s cartoons turned into a great original story. So, like, an original movie, but not the 80s characters, but but similar to the 80s characters. Because it's funny to say an original movie and then add an IP into that, which I think is funny. But yeah, no, that could be cool. I mean, there's tons of great 80s characters. There's tons of great cartoon characters in general that would make for great movies. Michael11591 says, I still have to watch Step Brothers. Yes, you do, my friend. Yes, you do. I highly recommend checking it out. I love Step Brothers. It's so fun. It's probably one of my favorite Will Ferrell comedies of all time. Trev's movie, Zach, did you touch my drum set? I'm gonna put my balls on your drum set. Oh man, that movie is so funny. Collective Movie Man says, I found out I spent $1,000 on my credit card, so that's why I'm in a bad mood, and I have to trade in some movies tomorrow. I'm trading in almost close to 80 movies. Wow, dude. Well, look, man, I'm sorry that happened. That really sucks, dude, and I hope that it gets better from here, for sure, dude. I'm sorry about that. More money, more problems, am I right? The View with Drew says, keep watch burn comedy movies from 2000s decade. Pineapple Express, Hangover, Tropic Thunder. Hey, I can play this game. I've seen all of those. All right, so I'm going to absolutely keep Tropic Thunder because Tropic Thunder is incredible. It's just incredible. I'm going to... Oh, man, that one's actually kind of tricky. I think I will watch The Hangover. I think I'll burn Pineapple Express, but I really love Pineapple Express. That's one of my favorite Seth Rogen comedies. I might go, that could switch any other day. I might go Pineapple Express over Hangover, but I'm definitely keeping Tropic Thunder. That's no brainer. 80s Gift from 90 says, since Marvel fired DeMeo for good reasons, do you think Gunn will hire him for the DCU? Also, that Spider-Man VHS brings me so many happy childhood memories. Yeah, I know, right? Do I think he'll bring him over to the DCU? Not necessarily. I wouldn't say it's like out of the question, but just because he got fired from Marvel, I don't think that automatically brings him over into the DCU. But if James Gunn has a project for him that you think he'd be great for, or maybe he gives him a chance to pitch something and he pitches something amazing, maybe they'll bring him over. But I don't think he's like automatically going to be over there. And Gunn's going to immediately be like, oh, a Marvel employee is out. I'm going to bring him into the DCU. I don't think he's going to do that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he found his way over there. Trev's Movie says, do you have a VCR that works? I do have a VCR that works, actually. It's currently in my bedroom because I was watching a VHS of Over the Top on it recently. But yeah, I do actually have a VCR that works, and it's actually pretty great to still have that. 80s Gift from 90 says VHS was goated. I wish I still owned a VCR. Yeah, I held on to 3 VCRs for a very long time. One of them got broken. I think one got lost in a move, and then I still have one remaining. Collector Movie Man says it's almost 11 o'clock here in Michigan. Is that 11 o'clock p.m. or a.m.? Either way, dude, thank you so much for... I think if I had to take a guess, it's probably p.m., which is very late, and I appreciate you being here for that late of a show, man. Thank you so much. And then we were at, once again, thank you for that super chat, movie reviews with Ryan Lane. And I think with that, guys, we're at 8 o'clock, half an hour in. We're going to start with topic number 1, and then we will get back to these comments and questions because you guys are killing this chat, and I look forward to seeing what more you guys have to say and conversing. But for our first topic, let's talk about this, shall we? Sony is a studio at the moment that I would say I'm not the biggest fan of, more so for the Sony Spider-Man list universe. Venom, Madam Web, Morbius. What was the other one they did? The Venom, no, that's about it. Venom, Madam Web, Morbius, Kraven's coming out. I'm pretty sure it's going to suck. I don't think I'll be eating any tissues come December, even though that Sony says that they moved it to December because they believe that people will be watching Kraven over and over and over and over and over again. Look, Sony, I love a guy who can dream, but get real. Get real with that. Watching Kraven over and over again, I can't believe that. But one of the things that Sony has done well, if you can even credit Sony for this, is the Spider-Verse movies. Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. They're not only beloved by fans and Spider-Man fans alike, and the general audience has really grabbed onto them too, but they are Oscar worthy. I mean, Into the Spider-Verse won the best animated film when it came out. Across the Spider-Verse was nominated last year, and the guys behind both movies, Christopher Miller and Phil Lord, have really made that franchise a household name, and they've become household names in a way through that franchise. Well, in a very rare turn of events, Sony did something smart that I have to go, huh, good job, Sony. You have a brain. It's great to see. Because on the heels of a Spider-Man Noir live action series with Nicolas Cage being announced, and with Silk Spider Society being canceled, there's obviously big moves going on over in Sony with their live action continuations of the Spider-Verse universe. And one of the big developments that's come from that is they have given Christopher Miller and Phil Lord the keys to the television castle. This comes to us from Deadline, and it has to say, Oscar-winning writers, directors, and producers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller have signed a massive 5-year overall deal with Sony Pictures Television. No one is commenting, but the value of the pact is believed to be in the 9 figures. Good job, Christopher Miller and Phil Lord. Under the agreement, the duo will develop live-action comedy and drama series as well as animated shows through their Lord Miller production company, including a suite of TV series based on Sony's universe of Marvel characters referred to as Spiderverse, which had been a priority for SPT. The latter is said to have been a major selling point that helped bring Lord and Miller to Sony TV in a very competitive situation with multiple independent studios and a streaming platform pursuing them. The pair is coming off winning an Oscar for Sony's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The Sony TV deal allows the pair to develop their own projects for the network cable and streaming platforms, as well as develop and supervise other writers' projects. So that comes to us from Deadline. And look, I heard this news and I got very excited. I got very excited because this isn't affecting the Sony verse movies. I still think that Kraven's going to be a mess. I don't know what they have planned after Kraven, but I guarantee that will probably still be a mess unless they get their act together over there. I don't really have much faith in their movies, but when they were starting to transition over into TV, when we heard about Silk Spider Society, when we've now heard about Spider-Man Noir with Nicolas Cage coming back, there has been that kind of worry of like, it's still Sony. It's still Sony dealing with this extension of their universe or their Spider-Verse, whatever they're trying to do. But you come in here and you get them safely placed in the hands of those who so excellently led us through the Spider-Verse in the first place. There's this sigh of relief that just kind of washes over me when I hear this, because I don't necessarily think that Christopher Lord and Phil Miller will be a part of every single project going forward. As it says there, it says that they are going to be advisors basically for other people's projects, have input. They're going to work alongside Amy Pascal as well, as this article goes on to read. But they are such a creative force. They have put out so many great projects together that if they are going to be the ones who are going to be able to transition their Spider-Verse into the TV realm, if they're going to be behind Spider-Man Noir with Nicolas Cage, if they're going to be behind maybe even a Spider-Ham series, whatever they're planning on making next, I think these guys are a great choice to do this with, because they're not only creatively smart, they don't only have great track records, but they have a fantastic fan base support. They really are the ones at Sony that the fans have the most trust in, I would say. I mean, I don't know if people who, liked Madam Web, if there are people out there who liked Madam Web, I don't know how much they have faith in Kraven. I don't know how much they have faith in their Sony Spider-Man-less universe going forward. I know that my faith in that entire universe has completely crumbled and died. But this automatically allows me to put faith into their TV Spider-Man universe. And it goes from something that I was kind of like, I don't know if I want that, I don't know if I'm into that, to now I'm really excited to see what Phil Lord and Christopher Miller are going to put together on the tiny screen at Amazon and working with Sony to bring us more Spider-Man character stories in our homes. And I can't wait. Bring it on. I can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse, and now I can't wait for this. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Christopher Miller and Phil Lord taking over Sony's Spider-Man TV universe side of things? Do you think that that's a right decision? Do you wish they could have just done the movies and the TV shows instead? Or do you not like Christopher Miller and Phil Lord and you're not big fans of them? Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions about that, guys. And before we get into your live comments and questions, Once again, let's take a little moment to do one more topic, and that's going to be this. So, not everyone enjoyed Godzilla X Kong, The New Empire. I really did. I really enjoyed Godzilla X. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it kind of disposable? I would agree with that. But is it also the only movie this year I've seen in theaters twice? Yes, you heard me, twice. Yes, it is. I went and saw it with my brother, and I had just as fun of a time with it as I did the first time. And one of the driving forces of Godzilla vs. Kong, as well as Godzilla X Kong The New Empire, has been Adam Wingard. I think once Adam Wingard came in here with Godzilla vs. Kong, he brought a whole new kind of fun new life into the MonsterVerse, because Godzilla 2014, I enjoyed it quite a bit, but I didn't really like Godzilla King of the Monsters, and then Kong Skull Island came in. I really enjoyed that one, but I really started to get on fire after Godzilla vs. Kong, going into Godzilla X Kong. And Adam Wingard has said after Godzilla X Kong came out, which made a butt ton of money, it's like close to 600 million worldwide kind of money, he has said that he wants to come back. He wants to complete the trilogy. He has a third movie in mind, and we just talked about a couple weeks ago how they're bringing on a co-writer from across the Spiderverse to come on and write the script for Godzilla X Kong. So things are really lining up for Adam Wingard to just take this and make it into a great Godzilla Kong trilogy that's fun and cheesy and bombastic. And now he's gone. He left. Adam, where you going? You said you had a trilogy. Yeah, no, he's gone. He ain't coming back, apparently. Well, that's not true. Let's look at the quote. This comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter, and this is what it has to say. Godzilla and Kong have smashed their last building for Adam Wingard, at least for now. Wingard, who has directed the last two of Legendary's hit MonsterVerse movies, will not be returning for a third installment, multiple sources tell the Hollywood Reporter. The parting of ways is described as amicable and stemming from timing issues. The door remains open for a future return, per insiders. Wingard is coming off directing and co-writing Godzilla X Kong New Empire, which has grossed over $564 million worldwide since its March 29th domestic opening. Wingard, who didn't have a deal for any new installment, said he had more stories to tell during a press tour, but also unveiled a new original feature project that he wanted to tackle before another monster movie. That project, an action thriller titled Onslaught, was picked up in a competitive sale by A24 and is prepping for a fall shoot. So that comes to us from the Hollywood Reporter. And first off the bat, am I disappointed that Adam Wingard is not going to be coming back to do Godzilla X Kong 3? Yes and no. I do think that he brought something to Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla X Kong, especially with the Kong side of things in Godzilla X Kong. The storytelling of Kong's story and his character was more than I was expecting to get from a big mash 'em up monster type movie. So I think that Adam Wingard has actually delivered quite a bit of good stuff in the Godzilla Kong movies that he has done. On top of that, I'm just really there for Godzilla and Kong to fight, you know? And if you can get a filmmaker who's able to do that, and Adam Wingard is not the only one who's able to do that, I believe they can get another director who will come on and do that. And it's not like this is a director's vehicle. You know, these MonsterVerse movies, they come in, they get the previs, they work on the action sequences with the visual effects artists, they do their thing, they shoot the live action stuff, they get the actors making sure they're in line with Kong's finger to their face and all that kind of stuff, and then the magic really happens in the visual effects studio. So, you know, you don't really need Adam Wingard, but as someone who enjoyed his two entries, and knowing that he did have a third one planned, I would kind of like to see him come back. But I'm also really excited for Adam Wingard because A24, pretty good studio to move on to from doing a MonsterVerse movie to now doing a thriller Onslaught. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes open for that. And I do think that the story of it being timing issues and being scheduling conflicts, I believe that. Because I do think that they want to fast track this next Godzilla Kong movie. I mean, like the article said, this Godzilla X Kong movie that just came out, $564 million is nothing to scoff at, especially at a budget. I believe they had a budget of like $150. I could be wrong about that, but for a big monster movie like this, their budget was kept at a reasonable size, and so they definitely made a profit on this. This thing ain't dying down anytime soon. I think they want to get fast-tracked on this. I think there's a reason why they already have a writer for the next one. I think they want to get this as quick as possible, and they're not going to wait around for Adam Wingard. And you know what? The studio, totally they're right. They shouldn't wait around. If this thing is on this much of a roll, making this much money, yeah, you get the next one out as fast as you can. I'll definitely be there, whether it's Adam Wingard or not. And as far as it's saying that Adam Wingard has the door open to him, I think he'll be back. I think Adam Wingard, once he does his movie for A24, he'll probably do a one for him, one for them type situation. I think he'll be back. It won't be with the third film, but I'm sure it'll be down the line. And depending on who they get to direct the third film, I think the third film is just going to be fine with or without Adam Wingard. And this is a big opportunity for him, so I think it's great for the studio. I think it's great for him. I don't see any problem with this. I think everyone comes out a winner as long as Onslaught comes out really good, because if Onslaught comes out and it sucks, I might feel bad for Adam Wingard. He might be regretting not doing Godzilla X Kong 3. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Adam Wingard leaving Godzilla X Kong 3? Does this disappoint you? Does this make you somehow more excited to see what they're going to do with Godzilla X Kong moving forward? Do you not like Godzilla X Kong? Do you not like Godzilla or Kong? Together, separately, let me know down in the comment section below. And with that, guys, let's take a brief intermission before we knock out the two topics, and we will go back to your live comments and questions. All right, we got movie reviews with Ryan Lane saying Book of Boba Fett is the rare post-Disney Star Wars show movie that I, even as a huge Star Wars fan, didn't enjoy. Wow, okay, so you've enjoyed pretty much all of the rest of the Star Wars stuff, but even Book of Boba Fett didn't work. That says something. That says something. Whoops, we did a jump there. Collective Movie Man says, yeah, I just got done rewatching Obi-Wan today also, and it broke my heart. There's some parts I do like with the show, and some parts I just don't like. Yeah, I mean, look, the stuff that they did with Vader and Obi-Wan, I thought worked really well. I love the moment where Vader lights the coals on fire, picks up Obi-Wan, and is like, you will know my suffering, and drops him into the fire because Obi-Wan let Anakin burn. Now he's going to burn Obi-Wan. The parallel there, oh man, it was great. It was great. I loved it. Whoever came up with that, give them a raise. I love that moment. The episode following that has Obi-Wan sneaking out of a Imperial base with thousands of stormtroopers and Empire employees working there, with little Leia just tucked away in his jacket. Nothing to see here. Nothing suspicious. It's fine. And then you follow that episode up with Reva getting stabbed. And then she's cool. She's fine. Gonna go hunt Luke later. It's just moments like that where it's, and then you have the Inquisitor, the bad Grand Inquisitor who got stabbed by Reva in episode 2. He's back. Does he do anything when he comes back? Nope. But he's back. Why did he need to die? He didn't. But he did. Then he didn't. It was great. It's good. Top-notch writing right there. Yeah, no, I get really disappointed when Obi-Wan finishes up. And like I said, the stuff with Vader and Obi-Wan, if they could have just focused on that and not this stupid little Princess Leia thing running around getting kidnapped and not kidnapped and then kidnapped again. And that show, man, it gets me going. And yet I'll still buy it on Blu-ray for like $50 because I gotta have it in the Star Wars collection. I do legitimately love when Obi-Wan cuts open Darth Vader's helmet, though, and talks to Anakin. That's beautiful. I love that moment. Collective Movie Man says, yeah, Andor is the only good show on Disney Plus that's Star Wars. I mean, Andor is definitely where it's like, oh, Star Wars can be more than just what it is. It like that kind of elevated Star Wars a little bit for sure. But I would still put Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 in there. I really enjoy those seasons. Travis Movie says, did anyone watching ever own the Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald VHS tapes as a kid? I actually just got done recording a video on the first one. Scared silly. The Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald. I've never even heard of that. I can already tell. Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald. It's an animated series. I feel like this is going to be terrifying. Let me see here. See if I can bring this up. I feel like this is gonna be terrifying if we look at these. Nope, never seen this. Not as terrifying as I thought it would be, to be honest with you, actually. But I've never seen this. You might be the only one. I don't know, unless someone else has said that they've seen it. Yeah, they actually toned down the clown. I'm proud of them. That's not scary at all. Good job. You didn't terrorize kids with your animated show. But I've never heard of that, man. That's crazy. Ace Gift from 90 says Boba Fett had so much potential, but Chapek was still in charge. I mean, that's a good point. They stepped in some Chapek. They still got some Chapek on them, which is true. Like, the Chapek era definitely hurt both Marvel and Disney Star Wars. But I mean, I find it hard to put all the blame for Star Wars on Chapek, because I kind of feel like Star Wars was already going down that road before Chapek. But yeah, it's true. They got some Chapek on the shoes. Travis Movie says it's kind of funny to think that Deadpool and Wolverine will be this year's Barbie. I mean, look, we can't say for sure. We can't. I am expecting this movie to make $1 billion. Like, just flat out. I'm expecting this movie to make $1 billion. Absolutely. But Barbie was such a, not even surprise. It was like a shock. It was like a shock to the system that movie made nobody, I don't care who you are, I don't care how you rewrite history, nobody was out here thinking that Barbie was going to make $1 billion. Nobody thought that. And the fact that it did was absolutely astonishing. And it was a rare situation where Barbie and Oppenheimer, the fans built this meme of Barbenheimer. The studios took that to their advantage, and it ended up helping both of them move up the ladder. Even Oppenheimer almost made $1 billion, which is insane for a movie like Oppenheimer to almost make $1 billion. But Barbie, Oppenheimer coming out at the same time, helping each other like that. You can't plan it. No one can plan that. No one can make that happen. It just happened. And do I think that Deadpool and Wolverine will have the same kind of cultural impact? I don't, but I do think it's going to be the movie where people are going to be like, well, maybe there isn't comic book fatigue after all. Where I don't believe there's comic book fatigue at the moment, to be honest, but I do think Deadpool and Wolverine will be huge. I do think that it'll make $1 billion, but it's not going to be in terms of what Barbie was for the culture, where that thing just kind of came out of nowhere like a juggernaut and just took over. I don't think Deadpool and Wolverine will do that, because we're all expecting Deadpool and Wolverine to be huge, to be $1 billion film. But Barbie is something that I don't even know if we're gonna see another Barbie in our lifetime, to be honest. Like, if you really think about what that movie did with Oppenheimer, with Barbenheimer being a cultural moment, just being this movement almost in our society at that time, hitting at the right time, the right moment to just be this big boom. Which I'm not even a big fan of the Barbie movie. I think it's all right. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's a movie that, aside from this historical moment that I'll be talking about in 10 years' time, to be honest. But I don't think we're ever gonna see what Barbie did in our lifetime again. I really don't. I think it's such an anomaly. Michael 11591 says, I still have a VCR and VHSs. Nice, dude. You hold on to those. Don't let go. Oh, look at that. Michael 11591 says he has the Ronald McDonald tape still. We got Trev's Movie saying, Jeremy Johns always says that VHS is the best way to watch horror. The only horror movie I have on VHS so far is Scream. I also found the entire Indiana Jones trilogy on VHS at Vintage Stock. That's pretty awesome, dude. I think Scream would be a great one to have on VHS. There's I don't know, there's something about watching a VHS. It just brings you back to my childhood. You know, that's how I saw movies. I didn't see HD. I didn't see Blu-ray. I didn't see 4K. I saw some grain, and I saw some fuzzy movements happening sometimes. No, I love popping in a VHS every once in a while, especially when it's a nostalgic movie, like I mentioned, Spider-Man for me. But Scream would be a fun one to watch on VHS. I might have to pick that one up if I find it. Movie Reviews with Ryan Lane says, the only people I know who still have a working VHS are my grandparents, and now me. Now I can be added to that list, my friend. He also says, I gotta head out now. Great show, Zach. Well, thank you for being here, Ryan. Thank you so much for your support and the generous donation to the show. And the show is made better because you were a part of it, my friend. And I appreciate you, dude. You have a good night. Double Mint Variety, what's going on? Thanks for joining us, dude. Says The Guest by Adam Wingard and Simon Barrett is a Halloween masterpiece. I've actually heard of The Guest. I've never watched it though, but it's been on my radar. Trev's Movie says the Obi-Wan series just sounds like that line from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I'm not dead. I feel fine. That's really funny. I love that. I will say, yes, I agree. It does kind of feel, especially after rewatching it for the second time, trying to hold on to that fandom that loves the prequels. Which, again, bringing back Hugh McGregor, fantastic choice. Bringing Hayden Christensen back, and even though you only see him for like maybe 2 minutes in the entire show, including that flashback that they do in episode 5, he's just in the Darth Vader suit the entire time, which I still love that they included him in that way, and it's fun seeing him act in the Vader suit. I do think that his Anakin kind of comes through when he's in the suit, which is kind of cool to look at. But other than that, they wasted them. And their show also looks very cheap. I wish they had the budget of Andor. I wish they shot on location like Andor. I wish it had looked like Andor, because they did them dirty. I mean, these are, whether you like the prequels or not, these are legends in the Star Wars canon, in the Star Wars lore. Hugh McGregor, Hayden Christensen. They should have been treated with more respect. They should have been treated with a better show, and they should have. It just looks like they cut corners every way that they could with that show. 3D Movie Cinema, what's going on, man? Thanks for joining, my friend. Says, hey, Zach, I finally made it to another live show after a month. You excited for Beetlejuice 2? New trailer tomorrow. Also, nice seeing you again. You look great, man. Take care. Well, thank you so much, dude, for all those kind words. That was really nice to say. I am excited for Beetlejuice 2. I have hesitations because Beetlejuice is one of the rare Tim Burton movies I like. I'm not a big Tim Burton fan, to be honest with you guys. I like Ed Wood. Ed Wood is really good, and I don't mind Edward Scissorhands. But for the most part, I'm not a huge fan of Tim Burton. More modern, later Tim Burton for sure. But Beetlejuice is one that I actually do enjoy. And I think Michael Keaton looks great in it. I think he looks, honestly, more terrifying than he looked back in the original film, which is kind of cool to see him back doing that. So I am excited to see what the original gang has put together. Winona Ryder's back. You got Jenna Ortega here playing her daughter, which is kind of just like brilliant casting. And everything that Michael Keaton has said about him, like, you know, this is the most fun I've ever had on a set, and we're going practical. It feels just like the old days. That stuff gets me really hyped as well, and I get really excited about that too. So yeah, excited for Beetlejuice 2, and thank you for letting me know that there's a new trailer coming out tomorrow, because I had no idea. I was not aware, and I will definitely be looking forward to that trailer. If I can, I'll probably do a trailer reaction. Toxic Gamer 331, what's going on, Toxic Gamer? Thanks for joining, my friend. Says Olo, Zach. Olo. That's like the 86 Olo, because this is our 86th show, and I love that you've always said Olo, man. It says, how's your day been? It's been all right, dude. This is definitely the highlight of my day, as it always is on Wednesdays. Love doing this. Love having you guys here. Love talking with you guys. Toxic Gamer 331 says, why do they look like they're from Five Nights at Freddy's? I'm assuming you're talking about the Ronald McDonald images that we just looked at. Oh, that's funny. Toxic Gamer saying my sister's wedding is Saturday. That's very exciting for your sister. Congratulations, and I hope you have a great time as well. Double Mint Variety says, OMG, Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald used to collect all the tapes. Rugrats did the animation. I don't know how to say that, but the guy from Rugrats did the animation, I think is what you're saying. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Double Mint Variety says, also, are you thinking Deadpool 3 will be a soft reboot? A soft reboot of what, exactly? A soft reboot of the MCU? A soft reboot of the X-Men? No. If anything, I don't think Deadpool 3 is actually going to have much to do with the MCU. Not that it's not going to be in the MCU. Like, I do think Deadpool is going... Obviously, we saw the TVA. Obviously, we saw the images on the TV screen, clips from the MCU movies. I really hope... Well, it's Deadpool, so if they act like they are movies and Deadpool's watching the movies, it might work a little bit better than it did in She-Hulk for me, but I really hope that they don't do that, and I don't think they will. But I actually don't think that Deadpool and Wolverine is going to have much to do with like expanding the MCU or diving deeper into the MCU. I expect Deadpool and Wolverine to almost be a love letter as well as a final nail in the coffin of the Fox X-Men universe. Like, I would not be surprised if at the end, even though it'd be kind of tricky to do because people do have nostalgia for these movies, I wouldn't be too surprised if at the end of Deadpool and Wolverine, the Fox universe completely dies. Like, it's just gone. Like, their timeline gets erased or eradicated from reality. So I don't think it's going to soft reboot the Fox universe in any ways. I don't think it's going to have that big of a soft reboot for the MCU. It's possible. I give it a 10% chance that this movie introduces mutants into the MCU. Like actually explains the X-Men in the MCU. Like, at the end of this, we have an answer of like where the X-Men have been in the MCU the entire time, or if this is the start of the X-Men in the MCU. I'm not expecting that. I'm just expecting it to be a fun time, almost like a one-off adventure in the MCU with Deadpool and Wolverine, and saying goodbye to the Fox universe once and for all. Toxgamer331 says, are you going to be seeing Furiosa or Garfield this week? I'm going to be seeing Furiosa this weekend. I don't think I'm going to do Garfield. I don't. There's no one young enough that I would be able to take them to, and I don't know if I want to be 25 and sitting in there by myself with all the reviews I've heard. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get maybe I'll see if I can get my wife to go. Toxgamer331 says, in WWE 2024, all three of the Zacks are in the Money and in Bank ladder match. Yeah, Zacks for the win. Zacks unite. Toxgamer331 says, you guys are in the match with Bane and Professor Pig from Batman, my friend Jackson, my friend Ace, and another participant who will be determined in the next episode. That's awesome, dude. That's great. Thank you for including us in that. That's so much fun. I always get a kick, and I'm always so honored that I'm part of that. Toxgamer331 says, what are your top 5 worst movies of the year so far? I gotta go Madam Web is in there. I gotta go Roleplay is in there. I did not like Night Swim, so that's going to get in there. I wasn't a big fan of Spaceman, so that's going to get in there. Spaceman. And I wasn't really a fan of ISS. I thought ISS was fine, but it definitely disappointed me in a lot of ways. So those are my top 5 at the moment off the top of my head. Toxgamer331 says, how would you rank all the Star Wars shows? I forgot most of them. Well, I mean, Andor is the best one, followed by Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. Then I'd probably put I don't want to put Ahsoka. Maybe I'll put Obi-Wan there. Then I'll probably put Ahsoka. Then I'll put Mandalorian season 3. And then at the bottom, I'll put Book of Boba Fett. Is there only 6? Is that right? Only 6 of them, I think? Yeah, I think there's only 6. So there we go. That's what I'll do for now. Toxgamer331 says, I forgot What If Season 2 even came out in December. Oh, I forgot that What If Season 2 existed. I forgot there was a What If Season 2. That's so funny. I literally, until you said that, I didn't go and watch that. I didn't go watch What If Season 2. I didn't mind What If. It was fine, but like, I don't know. For me, they could have gone further with some of their scenarios. I thought the best one was the Doctor Strange one. I thought the Doctor Strange one was actually really, really good. I also like the one where Hank Pym was killing off the Avengers. That was kind of fun to look at. But other than that, What If was just kind of like, I don't know. Wasn't really for me. Didn't really care. Michael11591 says, keep my expectations low for Beetlejuice. Fair enough, dude. Fair enough. I don't blame you for that. I mean, it's very removed. The last one came out in what, 80? I want to say 88 was the last Beetlejuice movie. Might have been even earlier than that. I don't know. But that's a long time ago. And now you're bringing the gang back together. You're doing it again. We've seen how this goes sometimes. It doesn't always go well. So I do not blame you for your hesitations. Not at all. But I am excited. Travis Movies says, my 5 favorite movies of the year so far are 5 Dune, 4 Monkey Man, 3 Abigail, 2 Kingdom of Planet of the Apes, and 1 Boy Kills World. Yeah, I gotta see Boy Kills World. I never got around to seeing that one. That's awesome, dude. There's Abigail's definitely in my top 5. Kingdom of Planet of the Apes is my number 1, I believe. Dune Part 2 is a very close second. It could be number 1. As far as the other two, I don't know what they would be. Honestly, don't know what my top 5 would be at the moment. All right, guys. Let's take a quick another break before we get back to these comments and questions, and let's do these last 2 topics of the night, shall we? All right. So let's start. Where actually are we starting with? What are we starting with? Here we go. Let's start with this. All right. So the Fast and Furious. They are a set of movies that, love or hate them, you gotta respect the longevity. They've been around since like 2001. They've been around for a long time. We just had the 10th movie come out. We got the 11th movie coming, which is said to be the final Fast and Furious movie we were supposed to get. 11 was supposed to be it. I mean, on a red carpet at one point, Vin Diesel teased there might be a third one because these things come in trilogies, and then the movie, not that it didn't do well, we'll talk about that in a second, but it almost lost the money to the point that it didn't sound like they were going to get another movie. Fast 11 supposed to be the end, supposed to tie it all up. Well, is it though? Is it? Because despite what you might think about the Fast and Furious movies, they do make money. They do make money. Even nowadays, when it seems like they're flops, they're not flops. They do make money. Let's take a look real quickly at this. Let's take a look at the track record for the last 2 movies. So we got Fast and Furious 9, The Fast Saga, which came out in 2021. So this is still like, we're talking, the pandemic is basically still going on. Not everyone could still go to the theaters at this point when Fast 9 came out. And Fast 9, The Fast Saga, was still able to make $726 million worldwide. That's nothing to scoff at. $700 million worldwide, that is nothing to scoff at. That's a pretty big movie. That's a pretty big hit. Along with that, you've got Fast 10, which came out last year. Did a little bit less than Fast 9, but still managed to do $704 million worldwide. So these movies, Fast and Furious, despite what you might think of their quality or how they've gone in the last couple movies, they still make money. Audiences still come out to Fast and Furious. The problem with Fast and Furious is not how much money they make, it's how much money they spend. Because if you look at Fast 10, their budget for this movie was $340 million. Not for Fast 10 and Fast 11, just Fast 10. Every time I look at this number, it just makes me go insane. $340 million for Fast 10. How do you expect that to make any money? That's why even at $704 million, this movie barely just made the studio money. Like, they this close to losing them money with that size of a budget, even with that side of a box office. So, Fast 11 was supposed to be the last one. We weren't supposed to see any more of these, but like I said, they still make money. They just need to spend less of it. This comes to us from Variety. It's the NBC Universal Studio chief Donna Langley recently gave an interview about the projects they're working on, the future of their studio, and she talked about Fast and Furious. And here's what she had to say about the future of Fast and Furious. She said this. Langley, who was interviewed by Variety's co-editor-in-chief, Raman Setudeh, sorry if I got that wrong, Raman, gave updates on some of Universal's biggest films and franchises. Though she insists that there's still gas in the tank of the Fast and Furious franchise, Langley suggested that Dom Toretto and his crew may be getting a tune-up after the 11th film in the series opens in 2026. Where we go next is a question, Langley said. We may pivot another time and bring it back to the streets of LA and maybe make it a more intimate story. Langley also implied that there could be a possible television or streaming spin-off series, because of course there can be. Every movie now has a cinematic universe that is expanded into a TV series. If you don't have a TV series, do you even have a respectable cinematic universe? So she goes on to say, Langley implied that there could possibly be television or streaming spin-off series. NBC Universal successfully launched shows based on hit movies like Pitch Perfect and Ted, which the Ted series, by the way, was awesome. Fast and Furious is a good one, she said. After Sedudi asked what other films could inspire similar programming. Fast and Furious is a good one, she said. So there's a couple things in here I find kind of interesting. First of all, the fact that she's saying we may pivot another time and bring it back to the streets of LA, maybe make it a more intimate story. Okay, Okay, that makes a little bit of sense. I mean, that lowers the budget. That definitely has to cut it down by more than half. And if you go back to the roots of what the franchise was known for, you probably still have the same amount of fan base coming in. You can definitely make money off of these movies if you just cut down their budget and sending them back to the streets of LA. That's a good way to do it. One of the things in here that really surprised me, though, is she's talking about doing this with Dom Toretto and his crew after the 11th film. So, to be clear, and this is what she's saying, these are her words, at least in this article, the way that they're written. She's not saying we're going to take the 11th film back to basics. She's not saying we're going to take the 11th film and put it on the streets of LA with Dom Toretto and his crew. She's talking about after Fast 11. She's talking about doing more. She's talking about doing more Fast and Furious after Fast 11. And she's not just talking about doing more Fast and Furious after Fast 11. She's talking about doing more Fast and Furious with the same crew. I mean, Vin Diesel has said that this is supposed to be his last one. Michelle Rodriguez. This is supposed to be their final send-off. This Fast 11 is supposed to be the finale. That's how they've been marketing it. A 2-part finale. But this is kind of the first time where we're really hearing them say, no, this isn't the end of the story. We're going to do more. So, do I want to see more Fast and Furious? Yeah, kind of. I will say this. I will say I really disliked Fast 9. And even Fast 8 was on the fence for me. But I had fun with Fast 10. I think they overspent. Don't get me wrong, the budget is insane. It is way too crazy for that kind of movie. Even though it brought some fun action sequences, for me personally, I had fun with Fast 10. Is it a good movie? Not really. But there's probably like one really good movie in Fast and Furious, and I would say that's Fast 5. The rest of them, they're pretty crazy, pretty out there, pretty random. But if they were going to do another Fast and Furious, and they were going to bring it back to the streets of LA, and they were going to use the same crew, and they were going to cut down the budget and just focus on exciting, fun car chases and car sequences where you don't need to spend $340 million to accomplish them, and make them practical, make them real, because that was the exciting part of Fast and Furious when it began, was the fact that it was practical, it was on the streets, they were real cars. It's very CGI heavy cars now. I mean, you had a car riding down on a dam after a big explosion in Fast 10. I laughed, I had a good time, but even I can admit, a little bit too far with the CGI cars there. So, I'm very intrigued to see where they go now, because I was totally ready for Fast and Furious 11 to come out, for me to go to that, be done with it, see a Fast and Furious, wouldn't want to be a type stuff. But the fact that they're talking about bringing this crew back, going back to basics, doing another one, like we said, they still make money. If you can get this kind of budget, if you can get a $700 million worldwide out of, let's say, even a $150 million budget, maybe you get close to that $200 million mark, but even I think that's a stretch. You bring this way down into the 100 millions, I think, after going this crazy with the budget. I think that she's right. Honestly, I think that there is still gas in the tank. I'd be curious to see where they go with it. What do you guys think? What do you guys think of Fast and Furious 11 not being the end of the road? Not being the end of the road for this franchise, for these characters. They're talking about doing another one. They're talking about doing more, going back to basics. How does all this hit you? How does all this make you feel? Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions about that, guys. And before we get back to your comments and questions for the rest of the night, let's talk about this. Marvel. Marvel has been in the news. It's been in our mouths. We've been talking about Marvel for quite some time now. Because Marvel, for the very first time in their over a decade-long reign in Hollywood, they are in a slump. And it doesn't take long to look at them being in a slump. I mean, look, their movies still make money, absolutely. The Marvels aside, their movies still make money. Their box office is nothing to scoff at. But with the inclusion of Disney Plus shows and kind of oversaturating the market, it has come very apparent that audiences are overwhelmed. Audiences are not going after every single Marvel project they can get their hands on simply because they don't have the time to do so, as well as maybe the interest to do so. And we've talked a while on this show, at least I've talked about it. You guys have heard me say it. The Marvel Disney Plus shows should be additions, not necessities. They should be for the hardcore fans who want that extra bonus in the MCU, but if the casual audience walks into a movie in the movie theater, pays for a ticket to go watch this movie, they shouldn't even have to know that there was a TV show that connected to it, that tied into it. That should just be for the hardcores who want to follow everything. And it looks like Marvel's thinking the same way, because they are rebranding and changing some things of how they're going to do projects moving forward over at Marvel Studios. This comes to us from Variety. It says, when Agatha All Along premieres on Disney Plus in September, the series will not open with the traditional Marvel Studios logo, which, of course, is, all the iconic characters as it spins around. Marvel Studios. It's been front of every movie. It's been in front of all the TV shows. Not anymore, starting with Agatha All Along. As has been the case with almost every previous series from Kevin Feige led division since WandaVision premiered in 2021. Instead, the company is rebranding its streaming efforts as Marvel Television for live-action series and Marvel Animation for its animated shows, which launched with the just concluded first season of X-Men 97, which was excellent, by the way. The rebrands are meant to help Marvel disabuse audiences from the pervasive impression that its content is one unified narrative experience that must be consumed in its totality. In other words, you don't gotta watch this to understand what's happening in the movies. This goes on to say, there was a lot of pressure post-Avengers Endgame on the public to feel obligated to watch absolutely everything in order to watch anything, says Brad Winderbaum, Marvel's head of streaming television and animation. Part of the rebranding was a signal to the general audience that we're creating a lot of options, and you can follow your taste within this brand. Some will be more comedic, some will be more dramatic, some will be animated, some will be live action. Marvel is more than just one thing. It is actually many different genres that just happen to coexist in a singular narrative. And that comes to us from Variety. Look, like I said, I've been saying this for a while. They need to do this. They have gotten to a point, and I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love the MCU. I love the connectivity of it all. I love seeing characters pop up here and there and reference things from their movies to other characters, and seeing it all come together and intertwine has been some of the biggest joys of my movie-going experience growing up in my late or early teens and now into my adulthood. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has been so great. I've loved it. But the Marvel Cinematic Universe has also grown and expanded to a point where it is tricky to get someone caught up on the MCU. If I want to get someone into the MCU and start at Iron Man, we have 33 movies to go before we're caught up to where they are now. That's a lot of content to ask people to watch. On top of that, you're adding TV shows and Disney Plus, and you need a subscription or you need to buy the exclusive Blu-ray for $50. It's a lot. It's a lot that Marvel's putting out. It's a lot that Marvel is asking the audience to grab onto, to get invested in. And I think the biggest moment that showed Marvel it's not working was the Marvels. When you had Miss Marvel and Monica Rambeau from TV shows on Disney Plus coming to the Marvels, I do think that was a big reason why that movie did not resonate with audiences as much, and it is the lowest grossing Marvel movie they've had to date. Even with the pandemic, this is the lowest one they've ever made. So I think this is a great move. I think this is a great decision. Now, there is a fear a little bit in that statement, because they failed to acknowledge the quantity over quality issue, because it's not just that Marvel has been putting out TV shows and projects that all intertwine, and it's just like endless hours of content for someone to be asked to watch if they're not a hardcore fan to watch the movies in theaters. It's also the fact that they've put out so much so fast that the quality control really dipped at Marvel. And when you dip in quality control and your brand gets a little bit diluted, you are going to essentially or eventually lose some of the fandom, which we have seen Marvel go through. Now, I do think that this is the right move to go. I think that this is showing that they are paying attention. They are not just hiding their heads in the sand, which Kevin Feige and Marvel have never done, so I never expected them to do that. But to see them acknowledge what's going on, how the fans are feeling, how the casual audience is feeling, recognizing that what they were doing wasn't working, pivoting and fixing the problem, That's what I want to see studios do. That's what I want to see these people who make our movies and our entertainment that we love so much do. Kevin Feige has always had his hand on the pulse of the fandom to the point that he can basically read our minds at this point, which is one of the reasons why he's been so successful in the superhero genre, in the superhero realm of movies and television. And I think that this is just going to help them get new fans and keep the casual audience as fans. And we're still going to be a couple years away before we actually see this coming to fruition, before we actually see this, because Agatha all along, that's been in the works for quite some time before they decided to do this, I'm sure. So yeah, they're smacking this label onto it, but I'm sure there'll be some connectivity to some of the stuff happening in the movies. But if this is their direction that they're going in, this is what they're going to stick to, this is what they're going to do moving forward, I think it's a smart move. I think it's what they need to do. It's what I've been calling them to do, and I'm very happy to see that they're taking that step. What do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of the MCU rebranding their banners and some of their projects? You know, this project goes under this banner, this project goes under that banner, and there's no crossover. You can watch what you want to watch, and you don't have to worry about being confused when you go to the movies or going into another project. What do you guys think of that? Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions about that, guys. And with all that out of the way, we have gone through all of our topics for the night, so we are just going to take your live comments and questions. Why am I talking like this? I can't stop. Here we go. All right, so we got, let's see here. We got Toxic Gamer 331 in here saying, what are some projects from Marvel and DC you think won't get made? DC is tricky. DC is tricky because it's just beginning. So I do think that everything in DC will get made. I think the most ambitious thing that DC's doing that might take a back seat is Swamp Thing. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for Swamp Thing. I want to see Swamp Thing. James Mangold, I think, is already signed on, so I definitely want to see Swamp Thing. It's gonna be quite the thing to put in front of casual audiences' eyes. Are they ready for it? We'll have to wait and see. But as far as DC, I think everything that they have planned is going to come out. I think it's going to work out to their favor. They're in the best position right now. They've got a clean slate. They can just run with it and go and introduce these characters to the audiences. Marvel, that's a good question, because I would have said Ironheart. I would have said Ironheart's not coming out, but they've already recently, just like this past week, have said, yeah, Ironheart's coming out. We've got a release date. We've got it set. Vision Quest, I would have said wasn't going to come out, but now they've just announced that they got a showrunner. So there are projects from Marvel that we've heard about that have been on the back burner for so long. I honestly, though, 50-50 for Blade. Not even 50-50. I think there is a 60% chance that Blade doesn't come out. I more so believe that Blade won't happen than I do believe that Blade will happen, just because it's such a darker, out there thing for the MCU than the MCU has ever had. You got Bob Iger coming back in. I think he does want to somewhat keep the brand family friendly. Blade, Vampire, Daywalker, all that kind of stuff. He might think that's a little bit too dark for our kids and family. Again, it's all speculation. I'm probably wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. This is probably one of those times. But I will say that Blade is the one that I look at where I kind of go with a little bit of skepticism, like, not buying it. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'll be there day one if it does. Toxgamer331 says, yeah, the Ronald McDonald's thing does look like Five Nights at Freddy's. That's really funny. Got Toxgamer331 saying, what are 10 of your favorite childhood cartoons? Oh, man, my favorite childhood cartoons. They're all going to be from, like, the early 2000s cartoons. What are some... Let's see what pops out to me if I look at this really quickly. I loved Recess. I loved Jimmy Neutron. I loved Fairly Odd Parents. I loved SpongeBob. I loved Kim Possible. Kim Possible was fantastic. I really liked Phineas and Ferb. That was kind of like near the end of when I was watching cartoons, but I really liked it. Cyber Chase. Did anyone watch Cyber Chase? I should have this on the screen, actually. Did anyone watch Cyber Chase, or was that like a Canadian thing? I don't know if Cyber Chase was a Canadian thing or not. Totally Spies. That was a fun one to watch. Oh, you got 16. That was great. Arthur, for sure, when I was younger, is one that I would watch. Let's see here. Any other ones popping out to me? You got to go with the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. That was always a favorite of mine. Yeah, Fairly Odd Parents was on TV a lot when I was a kid. Dragon Tales, that takes me back. I watched that as a very young child. Ooh, Codename Kids Next Door was so underrated. Even when I was a kid, not enough people talked about that animated cartoon. I loved Codename Kids Next Door. It looks like I watched a little bit of the Powerpuff Girls. It was entertaining. I enjoyed it. Yeah, no, that's those are definitely some of the big ones. Yeah, there it is. Codename Kids Next Door. They were great. I watched a little bit of the is that American Dragon? I think is what that's called. Ooh, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I watched Foster's Home with or for Imaginary Friends so much when I was in like kindergarten grade 1. I watched a little bit of Tom and Jerry, but that was way before my time. Danny Phantom. Bring back Danny Phantom. Danny Phantom was great. Yeah, those are most of the big ones that I watched. Yeah, pretty good nostalgic time. Oh man, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed those shows quite a bit. Trev's movies. My 5 worst movies of the year so far. 5, American Society of Magical Negroes. I heard that was terrible. I watched our buddy Kenny Sparks, our beloved channel member, as well as a friend of the community. Kenny Sparks, he reviewed American Society of Magical Negroes, and it was very interesting to hear his perspective, and it sounded awful. 4, Strangers Part 1. Yeah, I didn't hear great things about that. Number 3, Madam Web. Yeah, pretty bad. 2, Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. I didn't even count that as a real movie. That's a backdoor pilot to a TV show. Actually, I think it ended up being a backdoor pilot to a TV show. And number 1, Not Another Church Movie. I heard that was terrible. I think you told us last week that was terrible. So I'm not surprised that it's your number 1. It does make me want to watch it, though. I will say. Trez Movie says, I'm going to see Garfield and Furiosa tomorrow. Garfield in 3D by myself. Judge me. You know what, dude? I'm proud of you. You should go see Garfield in 3D. If that's what you want to do, if you're not hurting anybody, do it. Unless you sit on a kid, like, get out of my way, kid. I want your seat. Like then don't do that. But if you got your own seat, if you're good to go, yeah, go see Garfield, man. I hope you have a great time. I just don't know if it's one for me. Talking with one says, you guys beat the Spoiler Kings. Yeah, take it, guys. The Zacks win. Brian and Brandon, take that, Brian and Brandon. The Zacks are superior. Talks Game with 51 says, I did like Andor, but my goodness, it was so slow. I mean, I won't disagree that it was slow, but again, kind of like how I talked about with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, it was a slow burn, but with a purpose. I really liked what they did with Andor, and they took their time with it. So, but yeah, I won't argue that it got a little slow at times. Jazz Movie says, Zach, where do you work? At the moment, I work at a Mercedes-Benz dealership. I've been there for a couple months now. Going well. It's pretty fun. Big learning curve, because I'm not a car guy at all. I couldn't even tell you what a Mercedes-Benz looked like before I started working there. So they took a chance on me. They're taking a chance on me. It's been great so far. My coworkers are great. The environment's great, and I'm enjoying it. So it's good. It's good to have work after not having work. After not having work, you really appreciate work a lot more. Talks Game with 51 is sending a laughy face. Talks Game with 51 says, I loved the Zombies What If episode. I thought the Zombies What If episode was fun. I'll give you that. I enjoyed it. I like, that's the thing, is that I didn't hate What If. Like, people say, or people hear me say, like, I wasn't big on What If, or it wasn't my favorite thing, and they automatically think he hated it. I didn't hate it. It's just like, if I was going to spend time watching TV, my precious time watching something, it wasn't something that I was choosing to watch every week. I mean, technically I was choosing to watch it, but as the weeks went on, I slowly wanted to watch less of it. And I just wanted to watch other things, because I only got so much time to watch things. And I got to be watching things I like. Michael11591 says, Beetlejuice came out in 88. It's too long. They should have done the sequel in the 90s. Okay, it was 88. I'm proud of myself for remembering that, to be honest. Oh, wait, no. Now Talks Game is saying, I think Beetlejuice came out in 84. All right, you know what? We got to look it up. We got to look it up. If there's a debate going on, the internet shall settle it. All right. Go back to my search bar. Should have done this before I put it on the screen. All right. Let's do Beetlejuice release date. Beetlejuice release date. And the verdict is September 6, 2024. We were both wrong. Okay. Beetlejuice 1988. I think it is 88. Okay, stop giving me Beetlejuice. Give me the first one. There it is. Okay, Beetlejuice 1988. I actually got that right. You know what? Sometimes my movie dates are rock solid and I know what I'm talking about, and other times they're not. But that's one thing that my wife always says I'm good at is remembering movie dates. So I'll take it. Let's see here. We got Michael Entity saying Luke had... Oh, by the way, welcome, Michael Entity. Thanks for being here, my friend. Beloved channel member. Says... Luke had no problem finding out. He kissed his sister but freaked out when he found out Darth Vader, a black man, was his father. Interesting mindset, Mr. Skywalker. I think I went above and beyond. Oh, man, that's funny. I mean, that's stupid. But I see what you mean. It's kind of funny. Michael 101591 says, they need to stop with these Fast and Furious films. No one cares about them anymore. I don't think that's true. I think that, yes, you can say online there's more talk negative about them than ever, but you can't defute the numbers, man. Just last year, and that's the thing. Like I was saying, like, yes, it didn't, because its budget was so ballooned, it still wasn't like a huge success for the studio. But $700 million worldwide, people are going to watch this. I mean, people are going out to the theater. People are interested in seeing a Fast and Furious movie. If $700 million worldwide for Fast 10, which wasn't that well received, not many people liked it, and it came after Fast 9, which is even more impressive. It was able to make that much after Fast 9. I mean, I'm not going to say that I definitely know people that are like no more and don't like Fast and Furious anymore. And I do think that that's a big thing said online. But worldwide numbers, 700 million, people are still going out for it. People are still going to see these movies. Tyler Calver, what's going on, Tyler? Thanks for joining us, dude. It's an honor to have you here. He says, they tell everyone not to worry about watching the shows, then announce Vision is getting a show. Poor Vision. Yeah, they did. They announced the Vision. Is it still called Vision Quest? I can't remember. If it said that in the story or not. But they announced Vision is moving forward. He is he's getting a show with the showrunner from Star Trek Picard. That's what it is. They're getting the showrunner from Star Trek Picard. I think it was season 3, which I did not watch. I did not watch Star Trek Picard, as we kind of talked about with Star Trek before. Didn't really get into Star Trek, so never watched it. So don't know how well he's going to do, but he's already run a show, I guess, successfully. People seem to like Star Trek Picard, so seems like a good overall choice for the showrunner. But that is pretty funny. You don't need to watch the shows anymore. Okay, Vision, tell them about your show. I'll definitely be watching. I'll be watching anything they put out. But I think I'm the minority at this point. ToxGamer331 says, for one of my future videos, this is a little spoiler, but I just got done creating an evil Barney. That is quite the tease, my friend. I'm looking forward to seeing what that's all about. ToxGamer331 says, I would watch X-Men 97, but when I start a show, I usually don't immediately jump back to it the next day, if that makes sense. Binge it. It's only 10 hours. I mean, it's not really 10 hours. It's more like probably closer to 6 or 7. But yeah, all the episodes are out now, 10 episodes. It's not that big of a load actually to watch. I mean, I think the last episode is like 41 minutes, and I think the rest of them are like between 25 and 31 minutes. So it's actually not that hard of a show to bang out. Trev's Movie says, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie turns 20 this year. I'm so old. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie turns 20. I guess it does, 2004, yeah. Wow, man. I remember the first time I watched that. I watched that at a sleepover with my friend in the 4th grade, I want to say. I came to it late. I definitely didn't see it when it came out, because when it came out, I would have been like 5 or 6 years old, and I was not allowed to watch SpongeBob when I was that young. So I think I saw it when I was closer to 9, 8 or 9 years old is when I watched the SpongeBob SquarePants movie for the first time. I had a sleepover. It was a ton of fun. And 20 years old. That's crazy. That's crazy. Daily Reacts Gaming. What's going on, Daily Reacts Gaming? Thanks for joining, my friend. Good to have you here. Says, sorry I'm late. No, you're not late. I'm honored that you're here. You just have to show up and say, hey, I showed up. I decided to spend my time on you. And I will just say thank you so much. And you can say, you're welcome. Because there's nothing obligating you to be here, and I'm so honored and so touched and humbled that you choose to be here, my friend. So thank you so much for joining. He says, I just got finished filming my video for my gaming channel of my replay series of The Last of Us. Nice, dude. That will be fun to check out before season 2 comes out. Daily Reacts Gaming says, I've also been busy working both jobs lately. Sorry. No, dude, absolutely. Don't apologize, man. You're living your life. You're living your life. If you miss a live show, nothing to feel bad about, but it's always great when you're here, when you make it, and I'm always so honored and like I said, appreciate you being here, my friend. Appreciate you being here, and even that you feel the need to have to apologize for being late, man. Like, Trev's Movie says Recess slapped. Yes, Recess slapped. Oh, it was. I think the principal, the voice actor of the principal, if I remember correctly, passed away recently. Recess, Principal Prickly. I think the voice actor, if I remember correctly, passed away. Yeah, Dabney Coleman, dies at 92, and he was the voice of Principal Prickly. Dabney Coleman. Well, I didn't follow Dabney Coleman. I don't know who he really is, but he was on a show that I loved. So thank you, Dabney Coleman, for bringing us Principal Prickly. And yeah, it was a great show. It was awesome. Trev's Movies, Saber Chase, we're moving, we're beating Hacker at his game. Yep, that's it. They were trying to save Motherboard or something. They used math to solve problems. Awesome show. Tox Gamer 331 says, ironically, when you said Kim Possible, I saw a creation of Kim Possible on WWE 2024. I mean, dude, she'll kick butt. Play as Kim Possible. You won't be disappointed. Tox Gamer 331 says, The Strangers Chapter 1 was bad. I heard it was bad. The Strangers, the first Strangers, is probably the scariest home invasion movie I ever watched. I can't remember. Was that 2010? I think The Strangers came out in 2010. If I remember correctly, The Strangers 2012. Oh, it came out in 2012, I think. Is this the first one? Yeah, The Strangers in 2012. Okay. Yeah, no, The Strangers from 2012 was like one of the freakiest. I was 13 when I watched it, so I guess that says something too. But it was the freakiest, the scariest home invasion movie I had ever seen in my life. Didn't watch any of the other ones. I think there was only one other one. But yeah, it's too bad that Chapter 1 sucked. It's too bad. Trev's Movie says, it's not that I want to see Garfield in 3D. It's just that time works for me to see both that and Furiosa. Yeah, I get it, man. Sometimes you got to bite the bullet. You just got to do the 3D. If you want to watch the movie, you got to do the 3D. Sometimes they pigeonhole you in that way. So I get it, man. I get it. Toxicity331 says, literally the same exact movie as the first Strangers with even worse and stupid characters. Oh, that's disappointing. Michael Entity says, what's your dream video game adaptation, film or show? For me, I would love to see Assassin's Creed turn into a series. They failed with the movie from a couple of years ago with Michael Fassbender. Yeah, I heard that was terrible. Never watched it myself. Some of the rare video games that I actually know, Red Dead Redemption would be a fun Western. If they were going to do Red Dead Redemption, I think that'd be fun. And, there's so many zombie apocalypse movies, but Left 4 Dead would be kind of fun to get turned into a movie. What other games did I play when I was younger that that's about it. That's all I can think of. I think the thing froze. Can't move it. Why can't I move it? Oh, there we go. Toxgamer31 says, even for an R-rated movie, they might as well be PG-13 kills for an R-rated movie. Oh, I see. The Strangers Chapter 1 is rated R, but they might as well be PG-13 kills for an R-rated movie. So, everything was off camera? Everything was just, you didn't get to see any of the blood and gore? That's too bad. No Carnage Candy. No Carnage Candy. Oh, too bad, man. Too bad. I hear Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey has a lot of that. Trev's Movie says, actually, apparently Cyberchase is still running new episodes. Dude, remember Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase? Heck yeah, I remember Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase. Are you kidding me? That was like one of my favorite Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo and The Witch's Ghost was freaking terrifying. And the Cyberchase. Yes, 2001. Yeah, that's when that came out. Dude, I wrecked this VHS. I watched this all the time. This movie, I had that game. I just realized. Is that the game that I had? It looks like the cover of the game that I had. I think that was for the computer, the PC. Yeah, man, I freaking had the Game Boy Advance. I didn't have the Game Boy game, but I wish I did. Yeah, no, this was one of my favorite Scooby-Doo movies by far. And you had this creepy little like shocker guy. What was he called? The Virus or something? The Phantom Virus. That's what he was called. Yeah, no, the Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase, man. This whole collection right here, this was like the GOAT Scooby-Doo animated movies. You got Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase, and Scooby-Doo Alien Invasion. Or is it Alien Invasion? Yeah. Which Alien Invasion was always my least favorite of these four, but this was like, if you wanted to see what Zach was watching Scooby-Doo wise VHS day after day, this was the collection. These four movies were the best. I loved Scooby-Doo and the Cyberchase. That was a fun trip down memory lane. Let's see here. Thank you for bringing that up, Trev. Talks Game with 331 says, hopefully the next two movies in this trilogy this year is better. Hopefully the next two movies in this trilogy this year is better. What trilogy this year? Are the Strangers doing a whole trilogy this year? The Strangers Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 are all coming out this year? That's incredible. If that's indeed what you're saying. Trev's Movie says, speaking of Recess, I have a clamshell VHS tape of Recess Schools Out. I do not have the case anymore, but I've got Recess Schools Out in this tote down here with a bunch of old VHSs that I used to have as a kid. I have Schools Out still on that VHS or on VHS in that tote. So maybe one day I'll have to go through that and show all my VHS. It's not very much and it's not that impressive, so maybe I won't. But I definitely had Schools Out. Toxic Gamer, I don't have hope. You don't have hope that the next two in the trilogy will be good? That's too bad. The Laser's in the house. What's going on, Laser? Thanks for joining us, dude. Good to have you here. Says, I just saw If, and it was a masterpiece. Wow, okay. It was a masterpiece. I don't understand the negative reactions because, man, this movie made me feel. Also, I have eye strain from my computer, and I have a headache. Oh, that's too bad, man. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope your headache gets better. But, yeah, If being a masterpiece to you, that's awesome, dude. I haven't heard that glowing of a review yet, but see, that's the thing is I feel guilty going to Garfield before If because I was way more interested in seeing If than Garfield, so I feel like I have to see If before I see Garfield, but I don't know when I'm going to make it out to see If. Let's see. Toxic Game with 331 says, do you think we'll get the other Fast and Furious movies in the next 3 years? Well, let's see. We're getting Fast 11 in 2026. That means so technically, after Fast 11 coming out in 2026, the 3 years from that would be 2029. Fast and Furious would be going in 2030. That is so weird to think about. I do. I think we'll get Fast 11 in 2026, and then I bet you if they're going to lower the budget and actually go back to basics and go back to the streets of LA with Fast and Furious, they could get one out in by 2028 after 2026. I think pretty easily. 2029 at the latest. Talks Game with 331 says, I liked If, I thought it was good, but there were some negatives I had of it. The movie almost made me cry though, which I wasn't expecting. I liked it. I thought it was good, but there was some negatives. Is that If? Are you referring to If? You're not referring to The Strangers Chapter 1 anymore, are you? I don't think you are. I think you're referring to If. Toxic Gamer 331 says, I never understood why people weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob even after watching the show a couple of times. Yeah, I don't know. My parents just thought it was inappropriate for me at the time. I didn't understand it either, really. I mean, I guess it was like potty humor to them. I don't know. It's tricky, you know? Because, like, my parents, I don't think would care if I watched SpongeBob as a kid now, but it was just the times. It was just the times when I was growing up and you're talking about a time when a little bit before my time, but still in the same kind of conversation. The 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie came out, and then parents complained to the studio that they had weapons. So in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the parents affected that movie, and the Ninja Turtles were no longer allowed to use their weapons to fight. That's the kind of era that it was. I don't think that would happen nowadays. I don't think that parents could convince a studio to not let the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fight with their weapons, even if they wrote in letters. So, just a different time. 2 jobs. Wow, that's dedication. Yes, it is. Yeah. I can't remember who that. Why can't I remember who that was? That was Daily Games, right? Yeah. 2 jobs. Crazy. Toxic Gamer 331 says, keep watch burn between the Elektra movie, Catwoman with Halle Berry, and Madam Web. Well, I feel kind of like a cheater because I've never seen Catwoman. I just heard it was so bad, never got around to watching it. One day I probably should though. So instantly I'll burn Madam Web because I haven't seen Catwoman, so it'll be a new movie. So I'll burn Madam Web. I will. I guess I'll watch. I guess I'll watch Catwoman and I'll keep Elektra because I don't own Madam Web. I don't own Catwoman, but I own Elektra, so nothing would change for me. So I'll go with that one. Why is this not moving when I want it to move? This is so annoying. Toxic Gamer 331 says the original Strangers I originally thought was okay, but the characters were stupid in that. But Strangers Chapter 1 was even more stupid, so I'm a little more easy on the first Strangers now. Fair enough, man. Fair enough. Trev's Movie says I actually did a video on the SpongeBob SquarePants movie recently and released it at midnight on March 14th because that's the day of the Krusty Krab 2 opens up. Because that is the day that Krabs fries. Oh, that's the day that Krabs fries. Yeah. Wait, when was it? What was the day that it was on the calendar? Was it March 12th? Yeah, I think it was, maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. I think the calendar was March 12th when the Krusty Krab 2 opened up. I'm wrong. You're right, man. That's the day that Krabs fries. You're right. I'm wrong. Toxic Gamer 331 says I never saw Strangers Chapter 1 though. I never saw Strangers Chapter 1 though. Who am I thinking of? I said something, I messed up. I apologize for that. Trev's Movie says for 90% of the Strangers Chapter 1 had no kills. That sucks. That's not what you want from a horror movie like that. Toxic Gamer 331 says I would love it if they did Walking Dead, the Telltale series video game as a TV show with all 4 seasons. I mean, hey, we've already got so much Walking Dead. What's a little bit more, right? Toxic Gamer 331 says with Piper Rubio from the Five Nights at Freddy's movies as Clementine, Abdul Mateen, aka Black Manta as Lee. All right, nice fan casting there, dude. Trez Movie says, dude, nostalgia. All 4 of those Scooby-Doo movies slapped like crazy. Those were Scooby-Doo. Yeah, when I think Scooby-Doo, I think Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? I think What's New Scooby-Doo. What's New Scooby-Doo was a great series around my time. I believe that came out when I was growing up. And those movies are what I think of with Scooby-Doo. Those 4, those are Scooby-Doo, like you said. Toxic 151 says the Strangers are doing the trilogy the whole entire year. That is wild to me, honestly, that they're going to get 3 of those movies out in the entire year and in theaters, not streaming. That's impressive. Despite what you think of the movies, despite what I might think of the movies, that's impressive. Trez Movie says I have to see all the Strangest movies this year. F. Agreed, Trev, says Toxic Gamer. That's really funny. Trez Movie says, do you ever check out any kids cartoon nowadays? I'm always curious of what kids have for TV nowadays, even adults like Bluey, and I can see why. No, I don't, because I don't have kids, and it'd be kind of weird if I did if I did check in on kids cartoons nowadays. Being a childless man. When I have kids, I'll definitely sit down. I'll definitely watch cartoons with them. I'll probably try to show them more my cartoons growing up than some of the new stuff nowadays. But I'm sure I'll have to watch some of the new stuff nowadays with my kids. So I'll tell you then. But for now, nope. I've never seen anything from Bluey. Bluey gets talked about a lot, but I've never seen anything from Bluey. So. Toxic Gamer 331 says, I'm going to head out now. Great stream as always, man, from a great guy. I'm going to have a busy day tomorrow, so I probably should get some shut-eye. Have a nice rest of your night, and pizza, everyone. Well, thank you again, Toxic Gamer, for being here, for contributing to the chat, for giving us fun things to talk about, and for supporting the channel on the level that you do, man. Have a great rest of your night. The show is made better because you were a part of it, and I appreciate you, dude. Have a great night. All right, we're nearing the end here. Toxic 51 says, also, I meant Pray at Night, not Strangers Chapter 1. Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry about that, man. And oops, anyways, see ya, and pizza time. And with that pizza, that is it, guys. We have caught up on all the comments. Oh, we just got a beloved channel member in here. Have you seen that with T saying, hey, Zach, what's going on, T? You just caught us at the last time at the show. Thank you for joining us, dude. Thanks for being here. Just drop it in to say, hey, well, hello to you too, T. We'll hopefully see you on Saturday. And with that, guys, that is the show. Episode 86 of Zach Milne Talks Live. Thank you, everyone who was here. Thank you to everyone who supported the channel and talked and had a great time in the chat, because I had a great time. Hope you did too. Yep, I'll be seeing Furiosa this weekend. Look out for a review coming up, and we got Members Talk Live filming on Saturday. If you want to join us on Saturday, all the information for that is in the description below. Join at the $6.99 a month tier, and you can join us on camera to talk about some fun topics on Saturday. But the replay of that will be, or the recorded version of that will be put up on Monday, so you can look forward to all of that. And of course, we will be back next week with Zach Milne Talks Live, same exact time, same exact channel. Appreciate you all, guys, and have a great night.